Welcome to the Evening Indie News. Today, 4 people came in with samples. These samples looked great. They were fine. They were very excited to get into production. They said, "I'm ready for production." I said, "Great. Where are your patterns?" "Oh, I don't have them." I said, "Oh." I said, "Okay, all right. Well, where's your bill of materials? Where's like all the stuff, the fabric, all the information that you use to make your samples?" They said, "Oh, I don't have that." I said, "Oh, okay. Do you have pattern cards?" "No, I don't have that either." "All right, so you did prints on these shirts right here. You have some awesome screen printing. You have the screens, right?" "Oh, I don't have that." "Okay, so what do you got?" So this is a super common thing that happens here, and it's really unfortunate because you're getting the result from somewhere out in the world. It could be a Chinese manufacturer, it could be someone else that says that they're doing samples. But when you go out looking for samples, you get samples, and you don't get the rest of it. Let's say you want to be a baker, right? Now think about it. If you were to bake a cake and you would come in here, you would put down the cake, right? And you would say, "All right, now I have the cake." Now, if I'm a buyer of the cake and I just want to eat it, it's good. I have the cake. If you want to give your samples to someone, now they have your samples. But if you want to replicate that cake and you want to make tons of them, you have to know what the heck is in it. You need the recipe. You need the actual ingredients. You need to have all the things that tell you how it's put together. And so this is one of the key issues that I keep seeing, and it's super upsetting because I know you're spending money on these samples, but when you bring in finished samples and you have no patterns, no pattern cards, no materials, you don't have all of the infrastructure, I can't help you. And so this is, when people say, "Oh, I don't want to spend $5,000 on samples," or whatever it's going to be, you have to understand that in the beginning, when you're just starting, this is an opportunity for you to build assets and create infrastructure for your company. So if you're doing 10 styles, knowing where all of that material comes from, having the digital pattern files and the pattern cards, and we give you that. We will make sure that you have everything that you need to scale the business and not go backwards, okay? You have to work with people who are going to provide you with the infrastructure, not just the end result. You are not buying product, you are interested in creating, right? So you're the baker, you got to know how to bake the cake, you need to have the recipe and all the ingredients. That's what we give you here. That's the first piece of news. In other news, what's going on overseas? So let's see. Oftentimes you don't have any idea where the material is coming from either. What we do is we actually give you the list of vendors who you're going to be working with. As a matter of fact, we can even have you work with them directly, pay the bill. We do the work. The point is that we have the relationship, we spent the time developing this community here, right? And now you come, just work with us, we source everything for you, you pay the vendor, you know exactly where it's coming from. There's no chance of you not getting that information or having to go somewhere else. Sometimes people come in here having signed NDAs because they're not even allowed to work with those vendors. So protect yourself. And if you're doing it overseas, good luck. Now, if you're a fast fashion person, you aspire to do that. You don't care about materials, files, cards, because you're expecting your customer to toss it. Well, I would say that you need to build an infrastructure that makes sense for you. Now, other studies have come out showing that customers will pay more for local, sustainable made clothing where workers are paid fair wages. So it's another thing to think about. According to a survey that came out today, a third of all customers say they've switched to brands with responsible practices. A third, and not switching, they've switched. It's already happened. Okay, so they want to know about your infrastructure, your supply chain, and telling that story is such an opportunity. When you guys work with IndieSource, we give you all access, right? As a matter of fact, I'm working on doing as much branding for you as possible. right? We're going to be creating content, and we want you to come in here with some exciting news about where you're at, the clarity of vision so we can tell that story, and we're going to be taking you behind the scenes and showing your customers that process of picking fabrics, of building the collection that you've really been dreaming about is what's going to hook them in and really make them feel like they're kind of like a part of your team. And the cool thing is you don't have to make it all perfect. You can show them some of the issues that happen, because there's always issues in production. And anybody that says there isn't, they don't know what they're talking about. They've never done this before. For example, you might get something back from the dye house that's a little off, right? Or you might not be able to find that exact fabric. You have to tweak, right? You want to hit a certain price point. All of that, working through those issues, is something that's going to be valuable just to show people so they can see what you're going through. And we are going to be right here with you too. For those of you that are producing overseas, I understand that's important. And I also think it's good to have a strategy where you can have diversification in your supply chain. So what I mean by that is continue producing overseas. What you're going to see from these tariffs is not so much a mass exodus to the US, although that's the intention. What you see is all of these companies moving out of China to closer other countries that produce, like Vietnam, right? Indonesia, Bangladesh, and then making sure that you have some production as a base here. Product development, local. Small batch manufacturing, local. And if you have the margin for it, you produce locally. And as you start to grow, you add these other sections too. There is a massive issue right now with capacity in Vietnam and some of these other places because of the exodus from China due to a lot of these tariffs or just fear of tariffs. And what that means is that the timelines are very bad right now. Now, the number one most important thing for a new or emerging designer to do is get their asses into the market and not be stuck waiting for product. Just know that when it comes time to be producing or managing this stuff overseas for you, we can help you with that, but we will create a strategy that is diversified so that you're producing here, you're producing there, and you have mitigated the massive amount of risk that comes with putting all of your eggs in one basket in a country that you don't control. So the tariffs thing is definitely scary. And the only other thing I would say is that if you're going to be paying 25% taxes, that's kind of just like throwing it away. So you might as well invest that money in the local economy and in the product itself, because there's nothing else that would make you feel better than actually putting it into people that are working on it instead of just it being taxed. Higher minimums overseas doesn't factor into, what you don't factor into sometimes the cost is the need to travel there. You must be doing quality guaranteeing. And so what I mean by that is if you're just getting started and you do not have someone over there that can manage it, or you don't have anybody that's an expert in this field, you're just kind of like throwing it out there with just no quality assurance at all. And doing it here in the beginning will allow you to make sure that you're covered. Those are some of the things on the mind. Tell us about what you're up to. Comment below. Where are you at in the process? What challenges are you facing? What issues have you had? What are you excited for? And how can the community help you? What can we do to get you to the next level and out of this stagnant, dreaming spot? So if you want to jump in development with us, we have this kickoff meeting. Sign up, spend the time with us, sit down with us right here, and we can go through your stuff. If you're producing already and you're annoyed and frustrated with these vendors who don't communicate, and you're struggling to do the rest of your job, the marketing, because you spend so much time dealing with supply chain, think about how much time that's worth to you and getting that back. And imagine if you could have all that time back. So again, we were built to support brands like you, and we want to know how we can do that. Comment below, and we'll keep it going. Thanks, guys.